dying, we're dying. I never said I'm a perfect person, nor pretended to be someone that I'm not. Anyone who knows me knows these words don't reflect who I am. The media is so dishonest and so corrupt, and the pile-on is so amazing. The whole thing is one big fix. One big fix. It's one big ugly lie. It's one big fix. The press can't write the kind of things they write, which are lies, lies, lies. Stories of fabrications and false. They write lies, they write false stories. They know they're false, it makes no difference. And frankly, our country is going to hell. I've always been thin-skinned, the tone is such hatred. I've been thin-skinned from day one. The tone is such hatred. I don't have thin skin, I have very strong, very thick skin. And I don't call it thin-skinned, I'm angry. I'm very angry. What do you have to lose by trying, Trump? What do you have to lose? Your schools are no good. You have no jobs. 58% of your youth is unemployed. What the hell do you have to lose? America, fuck yeah, coming again to save the motherfucking day. Yeah, America, fuck yeah, freedom is the only way. Yeah. Terrorists, your game is through, 'cause now you have to answer to America, fuck yeah, so lick my blood and suck on my balls. America, fuck yeah, what you gonna do when we come for you now? It's the dream that we all share. It's the hope for tomorrow. Fuck yeah. McDonald's. Fuck yeah. Walmart. Fuck yeah. The Gap. Fuck yeah. Baseball. Fuck yeah. NFL. Fuck yeah. Rock and roll. Fuck yeah. The internet. Fuck yeah. Slavery. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Starbucks. Fuck yeah. Disney World. Fuck yeah. Porno. Fuck yeah. Valium. Fuck yeah. Reebok. Fuck yeah. Fake tits. Fuck yeah. Sushi. Fuck yeah. Taco Bell. Fuck yeah. Rodeo. Fuck yeah. Bed Bath and Beyond. Liberty. Fuck yeah. White Slips. Fuck yeah. The Alamo. Fuck yeah. Band-Aid. Fuck yeah. Las Vegas. Fuck yeah. Christmas. Fuck yeah. Immigrants. Fuck yeah. Popeye. Fuck yeah. Democrats. Fuck yeah. Republicans. Sportsmanship. Books.
Hey man,
You moved
we're
it.
not dead. The stock market totally crashed, but we're not dead. Well, did it crash? I don't know.
Yeah,
But we're not dead.
greetings.
Can you figure that out? I mean, shit has been happening.
It keeps it exciting.
Yeah.
Is that what you call that? The market? Yeah.
One
And
thing.
do we turn the
You
mark?
must be too poor to participate.
Yeah, well, hell yeah, I'm too poor to participate.
Listen, one thing that is not happening anymore, and I think this is like big news that we have to discuss on this podcast as the first topic, because I feel it is important to talk about. All right. I think it is messed up that the Grande Americano cannot say he's from the Gulf of America. That's all right. Listen,
Wait,
that's
what?
fine. Yeah, bro.
Wait, what?
They took the Gulf of America away from the El Grande Americano.
Well, what's the point then?
Hey, that's what I'm saying. Well, what the fuck is the point of the whole thing?
WWE introduced the new, well, not even, one of the wrestlers, like, had a storyline where he became a luchador to get revenge on the luchadors. And then they went through this whole storyline and they gave him this mask, and then he became from Chad Gable, Olympian, to El Grande Americano. And then his origin story played out live on SmackDown, and it's like, oh, from the Gulf of America comes the most like historic American luchador, and blah 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 blah. So that was how it got introduced. And now Monkey's telling me that El Grande Americano is no longer being allowed to say that he's from the Gulf of America because it's triggering some fucking libtards out there. So
Yes, that's exactly
Please.
it.
please, why can we not use it? What happened? Like they just said we're not doing it anymore? Like that's it?
Oh,
Too
can
much
we forget
internet
wrestling's
too much-
fake and they're allowed to have fake
Right,
lore?
wrestling is fake. Right, you know what? Yeah, you're right. So because it's scripted, you can
Right.
script, you can canon,
You can canon fake
you
lore.
can canon
For this.
the Gulf of America.
I feel like it's very on brand.
This is a very important political topic to open this show.
This is, dude. This is fucking insane.
Give him his lore story back.
Give him his lore story back. Yeah, well, it doesn't hurt nobody. It's fictional. The Gulf of America is not real if you want to think about it like that. Then
But what's next? We're
makes
gonna
it canon.
fucking erase, like what? We're gonna erase the Iron Sheik?
Look, one thing I've
Yeah.
learned in the past week or so now is people will take fiction to mean much more to reality than reality.
Wrestlers are there.
What?
So what other controversial
Hold on.
wrestlers?
And that
Hold
goes
on.
far beyond wrestling and other things as well.
Yeah, I feel that. Hold on, I had to mute. You got a lot of background noise going on there, San. But yeah, okay. Repeat that point because it got drowned out.
Yeah, so over the last week, one thing I've learned, and this extends beyond from what the incidents that I got involved with where this came up, but one thing, actually, it's something I've seen prevalent over a few years or so now, at least, more and more as of recent and over the last few years, is people seem to be taking fiction and fictional story characters' ideas to mean more than reality. Or they'll think it's more real than reality.
You know what it was, dude? The Mexican people, where Luchador came from, got offended because we're renaming the Gulf. We're disrespecting Mexican culture. Wah, wah, wah. Boss, WWE! We have the Rad Russian, okay? We had Sergeant Slaughter as a terrorist for like 2.5 years.
Exactly.
We can't
like I'm
fucking...
saying.
Listen, this is...
I do want to say that we have a fucking Nazi character, and
Yes!
that's okay.
That's
like a
hilarious.
whole fucking Nazi!
We have a whole
But-
fucking Nazi character.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, people are more concerned about the fiction that they consider reality than reality itself. That extends into that because of that. They can't think, oh, well, the Gulf of America is at least just fictional in this context, even though it's not. But at least give it to them in that kind of context.
You know what? Now I'm for. I was like whatever on it.
Yeah,
Rename-
now we stand our ground.
No, now
they
we're
can't
renaming
take this
the
away.
we're renaming the Gulf, bro. Fuck that.
Question. Then the name change was only recognized here in America, right? Not around the world.
We'll
It's
make it.
been recognized
We're
in some.
starting wars.
It's been recognized in some other countries, but they don't other countries don't necessarily care as much because it's not prevalent to them.
Right. Which countries? Do you know which ones? Like.
I don't know.
No, I don't think any
Yeah.
of I don't think any of ever I don't think any of them will really care to do it in any like full official capacity. But I have seen other I've seen foreign I'll see if I can pull it up again. I've seen some foreign officials talking about it as the Gulf of America, but again, it's nothing like
Right.
anyone really cares outside of America or South America.
And
Then
Mexico.
why so relevant? I don't get it.
It's
That's
not.
what I'm saying.
They're just trying to use everything that they can to make it to be as relevant as possible, to be like, look how bad this is, look how bad things are going.
Listen,
Right. Wow. Okay.
El Grande Americano will forever be from the Gulf of America, and you can't take that away from me. That was the funniest shit of that whole fucking character.
If that's his backstory, that's his backstory. They can't change it now.
Fucked up, man. All right, we opened up the show on a light note, but there is actually current news today. We're not just gonna go over.
There's been a lot of
A
news.
bunch-
And then some news
Yeah.
that hasn't been talked about in the news, or at least not really talked about in the news. A school shooting, which is funny.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. Like, we actually.
I know, I
No,
let
I
you
know.
in. Don't worry. Don't worry, I let you in.
Yeah, that we actually had an event happen today, which is crazy because normally that doesn't happen before our podcast. Usually happens like fucking afterwards, but we gotta actually get a current event for a change.
Breaking news out of Tallahassee, Florida, and I wanted to share this live look with you right here. You can see a very heavy police presence right here. This comes as Florida State University has now announced that they have an active shooter in the area of the student union. They are urging everyone on campus to seek shelter. And as we get more information, we will bring you the very latest right here on Live Now from Fox. But this is a live look there on the FSU campus. You can see a large number of law enforcement presence, and you can see that at least this particular road right here has been blocked off. This is Tennessee Street and Woodward Avenue. This is a traffic camera in this area on FSU's campus. This is in Tallahassee, Florida, where the university has reported an active shooter in the area of the student union, urging everyone on campus to seek shelter. We are.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna move it to this. Now that you get the gist of it, I'm gonna move it to this, so it gives you the end.
Conversation. Some of these figures and individuals, friends of Live Now, who we unfortunately have to call in stories like this, and they include our colleagues there, CEO of Global Security Group, David Katz, and with Berna Law Enforcement.
Emergency situations, you can handle top down.
Never mind. Fuck that. All right, I can actually summarize this quicker than 10 fucking minutes, and I'm not gonna do that to you guys. So basically, yeah, that's what happened this fucking afternoon. Well, we figured out later that the end story to that, because during this whole fucking shit, the details were like fucking everywhere. There was two shooters, and there was one shooter, and then there was two. One was dead, one was not. Like, craziness. But one shooter is alive. Killed two. I think 6 are wounded. Those figures may have changed. Shooter was the son of a cop. Got the gun from his cop mother. And I think that's that. I think that's about the gist of it for right now. And it happened at FSU. Which, if we all remember, this isn't like the first time this shit's happened at FSU. There was actually a shooting at FSU like 10 or so years ago. But yeah, so that's the gist of today's fucking actual news affairs. More gun drama in the good old state of Florida. By the way, I had found out just a little bit of irony in this whole thing. Like a block away, they were having a meeting about gun safety. It was like about the Parkland thing, but like they were figuring out like gun safety in schools and shit, and they were having like that whole meeting like a block away as this shooting was going on. Bit of irony there, bro. But yeah, so Charles, would this have fucking happened if we would have just had the metal detectors like these libs you keep saying? Just get the metal detectors. This kid actually, this was an automatic weapon too. So I don't know what the fuck they were supposed to stop there. Fucking that steak better be fucking good, you fuck. I'll let Slender jump in.
What I don't understand is why it always ends up being public shooting. That's what I understand. I don't understand why.
Say again. You got.
I don't understand why it ends up being a public shooting.
What do you mean?
Like, it's not like in South America, like they shoot each other, but not here.
No, that's still going on. Don't get me. That's happening every moment of every day.
They only like to highlight. They love to highlight school shootings because the fact that they can use it for their political agendas. Whereas individual shooting, it's not as much. It doesn't pull on your heartstrings enough, or the general populace heartstring enough. Whereas a school shooting, it's like, oh, the kids, the children.
Right.
Besides that, it happens pretty often around here. So.
Yep, happens all the time, every day.
Kind of gets overlooked in this great country we have.
I didn't know that, to be honest. I didn't know that.
Oh wait, should we pull up the stats of black on black crime? They always love when you do that.
But again, that's one person to another person. But not like in a public place. They start shooting each other, like everybody.
Oh no, yeah, it happens publicly. They just don't cover it a lot.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here's my whole thing. They have, at this point, enough fucking, like, I don't know. They have like a line of shootings that they can go through, and there's like this one common denominator that, like, it doesn't seem that it. This is the first time that I'm actually seeing it happen, but every other shooting before this, there was no, like, I think, but they actually had a fucking shootout in this building in FSU, because I remember seeing the crime scene, and the crime scene was like basically the fucking campus. And I was like, "There's no fucking way, dude." And that ended up being what it was. Is they actually had a whole fucking shootout, like, and they still ended up taking the kid alive. Well, I don't know if well, yeah, it's his kid. It's a kid. It's like a
so funny as well. Which one is it? Did you see? Because there was another school shooting. What was it? 2 days ago, or talked about 2 days ago? So I see an article about it. Did you hear about that one in Dallas?
Yeah.
Where?
There was another like school. It was a 20-year-old.
No, 17-year-old.
No. This one. I'm talking about this one. It was a 20-year-old.
Oh, this one. Yeah. The one that I'm bringing up is in Dallas. Earlier this week or last week, there was another school shooting by a 17-year-old that turned himself in, but it got much less coverage.
Wow.
Charles can tell you why.
Well, this one happened at a. Where did the other one happen at? What? It was just like a high school.
Yes, it was a high school.
This happened at a major college.
Still, we got more coverage from a previous high school shooting and everything. So,
I would expect that. I would expect that this one would get that. I think honestly, the only reason that like Parkland got the attention that it did was because of how high the numbers were for that one. But like, how many died in the Dallas one? Does it say?
It doesn't look like he actually killed anyone yet. One's in serious condition
Oh,
where
right,
they
yeah,
could die.
That's
That's not even news. No
that's not even
deaths.
fucking
Not,
news.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can't sell that. You
Exactly,
can't
but
sell no deaths.
that's kind of the point I'm bringing up is that it's not newsworthy, even though it's just as bad the fact that we have school shootings like that, but it's not as newsworthy to them for a few reasons. Well, of course, you know, they tried to hide the identity as much as possible at first, but that's beyond the other fact of either way, they don't want to talk about it unless it's actually something that's much more grim, something they can sell and pull on their heartstrings.
Also, you get bonus points if it's a white man. With a
Yes.
white man
Exactly.
doing the killing, that's straight to the top. Straight to the top of the news. The fucking whites.
Those goddamn whiteys.
Yeah, he killed 2, wounded 6.
See, like, even that, killing 2 isn't even a lot. So, I mean...
It's because it happened at FSU.
And the shooter was white.
Ron DeSantis said, "We're all Seminoles today." Listen, buddy.
What?
You don't speak for me. You don't speak for me, Ron. I don't care if they slaughtered the whole school. All right? I am never a Seminole. That is insane. That is crazy talk. Which, by the way, they had a... I found this funny for whatever reason. Well, like, I found this insanely hilarious. When they were checking off the rooms, you know how, like, what they got to go clear the rooms after a school shooting?
Mm-hmm.
When they were checking off the rooms, ooh, Keith, you want to join, like, the pod? That'd be awesome. But yeah. When they were going to clear the rooms, they had the safe word. Do you want to take a wild guess what the fucking safe word was? It's like the worst safe word to use in this situation for this particular location. Do you want to know what the fucking safe word was, dude?
What was it?
Aloha snack bar.
Gator.
It was Seminole.
Oh, jeez.
Oh,
What?
oh, oh no.
I would never guess that shit.
Oh no.
How stupid.
When they said that, because they have a, like, I forget how the fuck I found that out, but it was like in one of their tweets and shit. No, it was in their message. Like, they were clearing rooms saying that. And I'm like, Seminole fucking really? Like, that's the word? No one would have guessed that. Fuck, dude. Especially the shooter would have never guessed Seminole. Fuck no, dude. I wonder if they figured out if the shooter was an ex-student. It doesn't say anything about it, but they don't have much of the details on this kid yet. Just 20-year-old, used to be is the son of a sheriff. And I'm guessing it was the sheriff's weapon used. Yeah, but they don't have much on the. Oh, this is the Tallahassee Democrat. Fucking get out of this. Yeah, it doesn't say if it's an ex-student or not. Yeah, that's fucking insane, bro. Hold on a second here. Trying to see if I got any more. Oh, okay. What up, Keith?
Ron.
Welcome
Ooh,
to.
it's reverse.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
You're good. Hold on, let me.
Yeah.
Although I don't
First
think
time-
you've met me as Sir Slender, so it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
All right. I got. Give me another sound check.
Sound check. 1 2 1 2.
All right, yeah, you're fucking perfect. All right. So we were at We're at just the FSU shit today. That's where.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, we're about to move to the next topic, but that's I'm trying to see if we have any more. Holy shit!
Well, and I'm not gonna to jump in on something because I'll probably rehash stuff that's already been talked about. I apologize. I just got off work.
No, you can fucking jump in. We haven't jumped too much in anything
Well,
yet.
like I said, I just got off work, so I really haven't been able to read anything other than it was a son of a cop using his mother's gun. So that's all I really know.
Yeah, that's all we got right now.
Yeah, so I don't want to like rehash or jump to conclusions until I have a chance to read some shit.
Yeah. No, I think that's it. I don't even know if they know if it's an ex student. That's what I was really looking for.
I mean, the only reaction I had at first and everything is like, I read that he was shot and taken into custody, and and I scratched my head and thought to myself, I wonder if that has anything to do with him being the son of a cop.
Yeah.
You know what
You
I
know
mean?
what? Good fucking question. Because usually that's. Well, I don't know if that's all the way true. They took Nick Cruz in alive.
Well,
Yeah.
hold on, wait.
Okay.
So he was the son of
Fair.
a cop. Is his
I
is
guess
his
it's-
mother married?
Doesn't say.
I don't know.
See that? Yeah, we
Yeah,
need
it's
to
just
get
like
more
there's a lot
information
of
like that,
questions,
Ben,
like
because we
who was he
know.
living with? You know, was he
Right.
living with the father and everything, or was he living with the mom? Right. Yeah, because I mean, if it was the mother and everything, that questions how well did she hold on to that firearm and everything, versus if he was living with the father, that's a whole different story.
BBC is saying it was an FSU student.
Was an FSU student. I mean, it would make sense.
I'm trying to see.
And everything was a point that y'all brought up and everything is like, why is it a school shooting? Everything like other places, like you have beef with somebody, you show up their doorstep, and you have arms. But then I kind of thought to myself and everything, it's because of the way that American sensationalizes it and everything, you know? I mean, asking random people and everything, they probably know the names of the Columbine shooters, but
I
you
know.
ask them the same question about the victims, and they're like,
No.
No, they are not.
no.
It's actually funny. There was a whole
Yeah, but
YouTuber
you get
who
my
had
point.
a
You know,
channel
to the average
dedicated to
person, it
one of
really
the
hasn't.
Columbine.
They know shooters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's so many of them. I know. The crazy thing about it. The crazy thing about it
Because
is
views
I
get
know
money.
probably more than the average person about mass shootings and mass death disasters or mass death events of that nature. But there is a point to that for all of that knowledge, I could tell you the fucking shooters to anything, but the victims I only know like the Columbine victims. I only know a few names. I know the teacher's name. I know Danny Mauser's name, and a couple others. And the names that I know was because their parents became activists.
Hmm.
Even in the one that happened in Parkland, I know Anthony Feist in that one because he was a coach.
Hmm.
But other than that, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you any of the kids that got shot in that. But there is something to that. Like when you go, especially in the because you notice the school shooters all have a certain age to them, and it's always young. Like I don't know many school shooters that are like over the age of like 25, 30. There's a
Yeah.
few, but there's not very many. It's always a fucking like some kid in between 16 to 23, 24 to that in that young range.
It's always
And
someone
I
within
think
the
it's
range of who's going to that school usually.
I
Well, you
think
can
it's a
spot some
lot.
patterns. That's what he's saying, right? That's what you're saying.
Well, I think it's a lot to do with one sensationalism because you want to be remembered. You're trying school shooters are
Right.
trying to get on the fucking on the high score list. It's like it's a fucking video game. They're trying to outdo Columbine each and every time. Usually these school shooters know who Columbine is and fucking are very obsessed with those two guys. Like they idolize them. Um, so there is a want to be to be like that. So there's this a sensationalism to it. And they want to be legendary about it too. So there's that, and then there's like I think in
What
that
if they were remembered by genocide?
in that age group, you're more of a victim to raw emotions, and one of those raw emotions that you can become a victim to is like malice. And what is more malicious than going into a school and whacking a bunch of people that can't shoot you back? Like there's a specific there's a
I think
specific detestment to that. There's a big difference between like, let's put it this way. When we talk about the Las Vegas shooting, that sucks. That's insane. It's a lot of fucking people at a concert, but it doesn't hit as as hard as like the Parkland shooting, where it's like those kids.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
it's a specific sort of evil when you're targeting
Yes.
children that cannot attack you. And when you're in that age group, you fall victim hardcore to that raw emotion of malicious
Mhm.
intent. So yeah, you pick a school. You pick a soft target.
Monkey, I think because I look at a more on a broader scale and everything, because you have, when you look at school shootings and you look at workforce shootings and you look at like the festival shootings and everything, they kind of have a common thing and everything is the familiarity of that. I have a saying, and this happens a lot on social media and everything, is that some people don't graduate high school
They
because
don't.
for a lot of people, the last social interaction they have is that group. So I don't think really that it's the school in general and everything. I think it's more of an attack on that social group that they're upset with, and that's the best way that they can attack that. And that really fits when you look at a school shooting or a workforce shooting or even the festival thing that happened.
And the festival, you're right on the relatable thing because the festival thing sucked. Like I remember the Pulse nightclub thing in particular. That rubbed me wrong, and I'm sure that rubbed half of us wrong because we all work in the nightclub business. So that they're relatable instances. The fucking
Oh yeah.
the shooting at the music festival had me fucked up because I was like, fuck, I'm going to Rockville. I had my parents calling me like, be safe
Yeah.
and shit. Like,
I mean, if it could
but
happen there, it could happen anywhere. That's the kind of scary thing about it.
I think all
That's
these
why everyone
places
should be
have
carrying.
another thing. That's what I was getting to. I think all these places do have another thing in common in that they're
I agree with
weapon-free
Slander.
zones.
That's what I want to say. I agree with Slander.
I mean,
No, that these places are weapons-free zones, and we've tried. We're fucking putting metal detectors in these places. We're
yeah.
trying everything. We're giving them the stadium security.
I
We've given
mean,
them the art guards on premise. We had a police response today that was actually pretty fucking good. Like they had a whole shootout with this guy. It could have been a whole hell of a lot worse. It, it didn't prevent deaths. It didn't
yeah.
prevent injuries. It didn't prevent the guy getting into the school with the gun. So, can we try something like maybe, just maybe, letting whichever teachers they want carry?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or or even hit up the veterans. You know,
Or yeah,
there's so many different veterans that would be
there's a
more
lot
than
of vets that would
happy.
do it voluntarily too, because the kids are in
Yeah.
the school.
Right. Yeah, they would be like, yeah, I'll volunteer to hang out at the school and
I
everything.
mean,
My kid goes there and
honestly,
everything.
that
I'd
should
be
just
happy to
be
protect them.
I
that
think it
should
would
just
be
be a
good. I
general
think you should
government
let it
job.
be optional
But
to the.
That should just be a
but on
general
the other
government job offered to veterans, is where they can be
on
security
the
for
other side of that
schools.
and everything, yeah. But you got to look on the other side of that and everything. You have a veteran that reacts on the most extreme measure on that and everything. Then you have even more of a fiasco. So I mean, there's positive and negatives on both sides I could see,
You'd have to have
but
screening,
You
of
it's
could.
kind of
course.
You could. I feel like.
Hmm.
I feel like the good answer to that is like let it be optional for the teachers that can carry, want to carry, let them carry. Because
see
in all
there's a
on, go ahead.
there's a difficulty in that and everything is because what if the sooner or later the students in the class are going to realize or going to learn that the teacher is carrying, and then that becomes So then that becomes an option where there's already a firearm on campus. Yeah, I would rather it be somebody that has actual weapon training
Mhm.
that it could actually do that, and not someone that could take a second of carelessness is all it takes.
True, true. That's the one thing that I talk. That is the one thing that I struggle with is keeping the weapon safe in that environment. I just feel like
Mhm.
when I tout with that, I've it's like a risk reward sort of thing to me. I feel like every line of defense is possible. There should be an armed guard there too, like at all times.
Yeah,
But in a lot of these schools,
I mean,
there is one. Like
when I was in middle school and high school, we had a we had a,
we
a
had
school
resource
resource officer.
officers.
Yeah, I was lucky enough that the resource officer I had in middle school also was at my high school and whatnot. And he used to come out and hang out with the kids and joke and whatnot. And he was liked across the entire campus.
But a resource officer is one dude, and a campus is a pretty big place to be, with
It can be.
a lot of crevices and a lot of fucking doors, like a lot of rooms to go
She'll be
to.
right
So,
back.
You're right.
I mean, it's a risk and reward thing because that risk that you're talking about, like the number one thing that I think of is like, what if one of the kids gets a hold of the gun in the
Right.
in the classroom? I feel like that's the same risk that we run when we have that gun at home and we have kids. It's like almost
Okay.
equally
Fair
that
enough.
risk. Granted, and the only thing I think that is the difference is the amount of kids involved in the room, but
And
it's the same risk. I
and the
feel.
blame and responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing too. But yeah, I got you. Okay.
Which
Yeah,
in any situation, if something happens with the gun in any fucking situation, the gun owner is responsible. If the fucking kid in the school gets a hold of the gun, that you're fucking going down for that. 'Cause,
Right. Okay. Fair enough. All right.
but I feel like that's the one thing that we haven't done yet. We've done like even the armed resource officer. We've done that. We've gotten nowhere with this problem.
Yeah.
Like, in realistic terms, we've gotten nowhere with this. And
Mm.
I feel like
Can I ask you a question real quick?
go ahead. You can cut me off at any time. I'll ramble.
Yeah.
Is
It's
this
gonna say something.
yeah? Okay, just bear with me because English is my second language. So, is this more of a modern phenomenon, or I mean, did this happen in the 80s or 70s?
This happened
I'm back.
throughout. This happened throughout our
The, the,
history.
the reason I'm asking this is I have a follow up question.
Okay, I'm gonna answer it the best of my knowledge. This happened throughout time.
Is this the Menendez
However,
brothers?
and you can look this up. You can look this up. We can look this shit up on Wikipedia too. But
Right.
the amount of times that it happens, there's an uptick right after you get to the Columbine massacre.
Oh, we're back on.
There is
So
a
some of the second
fucking
version.
giant uptick of school shootings. So like yes, it has
Right.
happened in our history all throughout time. Like there are instances and there's numerous instances. But right after the Columbine shooting was the first prolific school shooting. That was the one that got the most famous. It wasn't the first school shooting, it was the first famous one. It was the first
See
one
something here.
we saw live on TV as it happened. After that, it became like Reaver said, sensationalized. So you see a huge uptick of fucking school shootings right after that, and it hasn't
that is
stopped.
definitely one
We've
reason.
gone decades.
But there's another explanation.
Jesus. Well, I'm looking at Wiki. There were 32 school shootings in the 1950s.
Oh wow.
The second
Well,
explanation.
the thing is, as a Hispanic, I was gonna ask you guys, can you say that all of this could be to some extent attributed to the fact that attributed to the destruction of the nuclear family? Like,
Yes.
we're not
Yeah.
right.
Yes,
I
that
can't agree
is
with
a
that.
large
It's
part
a
of
2 to
it.
3-parter.
Woo.
Yeah, the families
Jesus
are
Christ.
destroyed, and also everyone's just severely more crazy because of the internet. People are
Right.
not
People need the
If you could
medication.
teach your son core values, that's what I'm saying.
The problem is
for a change.
everyone's batshit crazy on fucking big pharma pills, and we have all these fucking crazy people, and they do shit like shoot up schools.
Whew. 59 in the 1970s.
So if it's not too conspiranoical, can you say? Can I make the mental leap, so to speak, that
I can definitely see the direction that you're pointing things, especially scrolling through.
It happens a lot, but there's like a huge uptick after Columbine.
It's an uptick of autism and school shooters. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There are more crazy people now. There are more people who have mental fucking screws loose.
And if you extend that search outward, if you were to take the school shooter qualifier out of it and just like look up mass shootings, it's about the same thing. I think the trend starts earlier for mass shootings. I think it's like more in the 80s that shit starts. But there's a point in where there's a lot, and then there's a lot more right after that point. It works in reverse. We solved serial killers just to get mass shooters.
Well, okay.
Either we solve shit.
We're poorly stable, and yeah, there's more extremism and crazy people out there. Oh, and again, everyone's on pills. It's just like by design. You are correct.
Did we solve serial killers, or did shows like Law and Order only make them better?
Maybe.
Both.
Maybe, but I truly think
actually Law and Order and all that doesn't really show the real process or anything. It just shows a similar process.
Yeah, but it kind of makes that like people more careful on things and everything. Right, and other ones and whatnot, and it kind of gives nods to things like, oh wow, if I was going to take out someone, I never thought about wrapping my entire room in Saran wrap or Visqueen or whatever,
I mean, that's fantasy. That's fantasy content in general.
Promote it, but it kind of helps.
I mean, that's fantasy content in general. You could say that about video games. You could say that about horror films. Like,
yeah, that's what it's about to say. That's what it's about to say.
I think truly technology made serial killing too hard because it's too easy to get caught. DNA, surveillance, just people with cell phones that have fucking cameras, IP addresses.
Cameras are in our fucking TVs, all right?
Yes, Teslas with their cameras with Sentinel mode and all that shit.
Like, if the one show that actually does, it doesn't show the entire process because you're not allowed legally to show the entire process.
Yeah.
But the closest that you can get actually is the first 48. Because they've got they do real world shit there, and it's so the shit that they find people through it's so I don't think it's as plausible to be a serial killer. Back in the 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Well, you could still be a serial killer, but it's not plausible to get away with it.
Yeah. It's way easier back then because they didn't have the technology. Cell phones fucked up serial killing.
Right. Yeah, you definitely have to be in an area that didn't offer like really good internet or really good cell phone coverage, and you gotta kind of like you gotta look out for every fucking door ring camera that happens to be in the area and all this other bullshit. It's
but
like
instead, you know what they do? They say fuck serial killing. We're just gonna get everybody in one big shot.
But
so we got mass shootings.
So I think he has a point. Fair, honestly, I think Monkey has a point with that because it's more of people are crazy that have existed like this in general throughout history, and they just adapt. It's not like they increase; it's just they adapt. But we had an increase in population, so of course we're going to see an increase of them. But we're also declining population, so we're seeing a decline of it. Ha ha ha.
I
Yeah.
think the amount of times that mass shootings have been on the news has made it appealing to be a mass shooter if you're cut
But
from
also,
that cloth.
To the people that were already
yeah.
crazy
Also
or inclined to be, yes.
Also the emergence of antidepressants and antipsychotic drugs coming more and more into
Yep.
the norm has probably suppressed that or there could be potential killers out there
That could
that
have
they
suppressed
just
it.
happen
That could
to
have
be
also
seeing a
instigated it for
therapist.
some people. You never know how those different
Fair.
drugs affect people
In the
because
water.
remember things affect people differently.
No, I agree. Especially like the forever chemicals that that you find in our water.
It's very
You
easy
never
to
know.
get. It's very easy to get radicalized.
Turning the frogs gay. That's what they're doing with water.
There you go. Exactly.
Start with the frogs. Start with the frogs, then they get the people, and then the people get all these demonic creations that destroy society.
And then the frogs become high-ranked demons, which are basically devils.
You don't do it as good. Let him continue to do it. You
Let
got,
him
you,
bake. Let him
you
cook.
got you got to be
Let him
like
cook.
Don. You got to be like fucking. God, what's that dude's name? Walter Cronkite or some shit. Like you got to pick it up.
All right. Look, if you're gonna do an impression, you gotta be the greatest. Like Sandmaga is the greatest at
There we
being
go,
Alex
perfect.
Jones.
Listen.
That was.
I'm
good.
kind of retarded.
That's like the subline of this show.
Fuck. It literally is. Though. We're fucking dumb. Oh God. Okay. So, speaking of dumb, before I play the next few videos, I'm gonna summarize this for you in the best way that I can. But we have this guy that we had deported. We had deported a week ago or two. That we keep arguing about. Like they've gone to court. They've gone
Reading
out
about
of
him.
court. They've gone to court. They've gone out of court.
It was a whole
Maryland
spectacle.
man.
I mean,
And now, correct me if I am oversimplifying this, but I think I've got it under control. I think it's been 2 weeks of nonsense, but I think I've got it all figured out.
I mean, they just did the data drop today, so everybody figured it out by now, and except for the ones that are just too hard-headed, I guess.
We deported
I
a
haven't seen
guy.
that yet.
We deported a guy for being a gang member, and we deported him because he was a Tren de Aragua gang member. But then the Supreme Court was like, no, he's MS-13, so you got to bring him back because you fucked that.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question. What was his status in the U.S.? Was he on a green card? Was he a natural born citizen? What is his status?
What? I think he was a green card holder, but let me get that.
I think it was a green card because he had a Commonwealth wife or some shit.
See, this will probably get me hate and everything, but like, if you have a green card or whatever, they're like you're approved for certain reasons. Like, for example, if you're here for an education, a deal,
right?
So you're here for an education and whatnot.
He wasn't even a green card holder.
Okay.
He was here basically waiting for.
Oh, he had work status or something, right?
Right, illegal.
Okay. It worked.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
We should start worrying about it when they start transferring U.S. citizens to El Salvador.
Like, he entered the country.
I don't think that'll ever
illegally.
happen. So he entered the country illegally. He applied for asylum. So there would be a big deal about how you apply for asylum. You come to the. I don't know exactly how you apply for asylum. To be fair,
He was
but
granted a withholding of removal order, which is different from asylum, but one which the U.S. government prevented the U.S. government from sending him back.
Okay, but how did he get into the country?
Illegal.
Did he follow?
Yes,
Okay,
he
so
did it
he didn't follow
illegally.
like the natural establishings by law in order to come in.
Right.
Came in illegally.
Yes.
I mean, to be fair and whatnot, and I was just about to say, if you came in approved on a green card and everything, you're approved to do a certain
You're approved to it a certain
thing and
extent, but
everything.
you're still not like a full. You still don't have the full status. But yes, you have a lot more. But he didn't even have that. So, but they
Yeah,
kept
he-
trying to frame
like-
it as he was like basically a citizen at this point.
Right. Right.
whole thing
And
is
and
that
was he just on the street, or was he just like they just stopped and said, "Hey, you come here, show me your citizenship," or did something happen that actually caused that?
So there have been a few things with him. He has a record. His wife had put in 2 complaints over the years looking for protection status because of abuse. He was pulled over for driving without a license, and then had apparently 7 other individuals in his vehicle that were undocumented that he seemed to be trafficking.
Okay.
Officers claim that
First question.
officers claim that clothing was indicative of the Hispanic gang culture, and that wearing a Chicago Bulls hat represented.
No.
Represented
What was that
they
first
are
thing
a
you said?
member in good standing.
What was that first thing you said?
So
Which one?
they data dropped that he actually had 2. His wife had put in 2 complaints or seeking protection status.
So, what I have questions on that. What was the outcome of those 2 things of protection and whatnot? I mean, I've been in some toxic relationships. I've been in a situation where she was a narcissist and everything, and painted me as a complete asshole and a horrible person, trying to get protection and whatnot. And I had to go to court on it and whatnot. So what was the outcome of those is what I'm curious on, because if she dismissed him and everything, yes, that could be an indicator of being in an abusive relationship where he's in control and everything, but it also could be on the other side where it started getting too far, and she realized that, if I let it go any further and everything, that it's going to be negative to our relationship. You get me?
So
that's what I'm curious about.
I don't know how he got picked up.
I thought this was a politician podcast on a Jerry Springer show.
Listen, this is whatever the fuck I want it to be for 3 hours, okay? Jerry.
This is a politics and current events podcast.
Monkey.
Actually, hold on. I
had a friend that used to make a lot of money coming up with ideas for Jerry Springer and then getting flown out.
There was something about this.
He died, didn't he? Okay. I stopped.
Oh, by the way, on top of all this, just
Yeah.
to add to the drama before I start playing the
2 years
videos
ago.
of it, Senator Van Hollen had actually flown to El Salvador to try to bring this guy back himself, I guess.
But Bukele said,
President
"Hell
of El
no,
Salvador
get the
didn't
fuck
take
out."
the visit.
Yeah, see, that's just like.
Well,
I
he
have
didn't.
questions.
He didn't plan it ahead of time. So that what did he expect? He just decided to get on a plane and walk over there and expect that the president of El Salvador was just going to give him a meeting with no phone call, no, go ahead, planning it ahead of time.
Yeah.
We're
Does El
American,
Salvador have a setup sort of like the U.S., where the more people they have in prison, the more money they make?
No, I don't think so. Well, they
'Cause,
might.
I
They
mean,
might with
if
the
that's-
U.S.
if
They
that's-
might with the U.S. and that might be why they're taking him back now.
No, I had read
Or that
somewhere
might be
that
they're
the,
not
the vice
sending him
president
back.
of El Salvador had said something about that the U.S. was paying them to keep them there.
Yeah, I heard. I read something on that. Dude, there's a lot of channels out there that are you can tell are like AI run, that are just meant to spread FUD. Doesn't matter what side it's on. Like I was in a couple of Facebook groups and whatnot that they were completely totally against Trump when it was the Biden administration and everything else. And as soon as Trump became president, it's all positive, pro, all this and everything. Even
Right.
in random channels, I see you might like this channels. You can obviously tell it's just meant to to spur activity.
And they're gonna blame it on your algorithm.
Right.
Party in devastating fashion. Today we have officially learned Maryland Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen rushed to Dulles Airport this morning to fly to El Salvador, potentially using taxpayer dollars.
Damn! Even the taxpayer dollars.
Isn't that criminal?
This guy.
13
It is.
So what I need to know is like, how do they know he's like MS-13 or and whatnot?
Well, that was the big thing. That was the basis of their whole argument. That's why they want to bring him back. We had deported him because he was a part of Tren de Aragua. We had fucked that up in the paperwork. He's actually a part of MS-13. But Supreme Court's like, nah, you fucked the paperwork up, so you got to bring him back. He's still a deported gang member. Fuck him.
Let me ask you on the other side of that and everything. What if he decided that like the gang life wasn't for him, and the only way that he could get out was to illegally enter the U.S.? You know, so he hasn't been about that gang life for a while, trying to make a life and everything. There's no way in hell that he can be in South America.
You know where he could have said that? In the asylum hearing, he didn't get.
Okay, fair.
Yep.
Terrorist. The Democrats and the media in this room have continually and wrongly labeled Kilmar Abrego Garcia as a Maryland father.
Oh.
There is no Maryland father. Let me reiterate.
He's a father.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia is an illegal alien, MS-13 gang member, and foreign terrorist who was deported back to his home country. And when Kilmar Abrego Garcia was originally arrested, he was wearing a sweatshirt with rolls of money covering the ears, mouth, and eyes of presidents on various currency denominations. This is a known MS-13 gang symbol of hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil. Abrego Garcia was also arrested with two other well-known members of the vicious MS-13 gang. And two separate judges found that Abrego Garcia was a member of MS-13, and that finding has never been disputed. And just this morning, it was revealed through Maryland court documents that Abrego Garcia's wife petitioned for an order of protection against him for 2 instances of domestic violence in May of 2021. And here is the order right here. The court ordered that the respondents committed the following acts of abuse. Once in May of 2021, assault in any degree. And on May 4th of 2021, he punched and scratched his wife, ripped off her shirt, and grabbed and bruised her. This is from a court in Maryland. So not only are Democrats rushing to defend an illegal criminal foreign terrorist gang member, but also an apparent woman beater.
Jesus.
To set all of that aside, the basic fact that he was illegally inside our country and had a lawful deportation order made him subject to removal back to his home country of El Salvador. And if he ever ends up back in the United States, he would immediately be deported again. Nothing will change the fact that Abrego Garcia will never be a Maryland father. He will never live in the United States of America again.
Good.
And the United States Supreme Court ruled unanimously that the President of the United States and the Secretary of State could not be compelled to forcibly retrieve this citizen of El Salvador who is currently locked up in a maximum security prison in his home country due to his MS-13 membership. To remind the media and the Democrat Party, MS-13 are among the most vicious and dangerous individuals in this world. They pose a direct threat to the United States, El Salvador, and any other country who maintains basic law and order. MS-13 rapes innocent girls and women, runs sex trafficking operations, murders for sport, and terrorizes law-abiding people.
I mean, it's true.
That's why El Salvador President Bukele made it clear this week that he will not be releasing this MS-13 gang member from.
Oh, god damn it. Fuck, got it.
All right. Let me know when you
Prison.
remember.
But that is not enough.
Oh, yeah.
All of that.
Okay, so given the technology and everything that in the presentations and whatnot, I mean, where are the pictures? Because a lot of times they're like, oh, this, that, and the other thing, and they're like throwing up pictures and like showing these things and whatnot. So that's just my neurodivergence kind of questioning. Like, okay,
What
where
are
are the
you
pictures
asking the
of these
pictures
things?
for?
Well, I think she's reading.
Yeah,
off
I agree. She's reading off a brief and everything,
Well,
but
hold on,
this
hold on.
is
What are you asking
something
the
that's
pictures
televised
of?
and everything. Go ahead. Well,
The
yeah, it's
alle-
probably
the-
against
the-
HIPAA. Probably you probably wouldn't be able to do
the
that.
alleged abuse, the alleged abuse thing.
Right. So they're just like saying these things are reported and whatnot. So like there's
Well, she
usually
showed the report
documentations
itself.
of these, and
She pulled up the report itself.
yeah, she showed, and she showed a piece of paper with a bunch of letters on it. So
True.
I just I'm neurodivergent, so I ask these questions. So when I see other briefings like this and everything, and they're throwing up pictures and
So those
videos and
documents are
stuff
the
to
ones shared by the Department of
to
Homeland Security, and you can pull them up. The Department of Homeland Security shared those documents themselves.
no, I agree. No, right. And I'm not disputing the documents and whatnot. What I'm observing here is a lot of times when they're talking about these things, they'll show like pictures or videos that like support it. But in this one, they're just kind of saying those things. Maybe it's against HIPAA, which would mean that they can't like display that medical
Or
information.
what I would think, because okay, my best crack at this would be the case that they're talking about is old, because the woman that she's talking about, this restraining order, like the woman that she's talking about is pleading for them to bring back this guy.
This was
So, like,
2021
it's
that she put
probably
in for this
Okay,
protective order.
fair.
I have more information right here, I can tell you. She filed for
Yes.
the protective order petition 2021,
Okay,
alleging
okay,
that he had
please.
physically attacked her on multiple occasions. Then she said on a statement yesterday that she had decided not to follow through with the court process at the time because she and her husband, quote unquote, were able to work through this situation privately as a family, including by going to counseling.
Right on. Thank you for the DD.
Yeah. So
Appreciate that.
what I would get, so the pictures were probably never even provided.
Yeah.
But
Well,
my,
hey,
my
man, I'm
other crack
also
of that would have been like she's probably just reading off of court documents.
I'm also in the medical industry, so you've got HIPAA. There's
Yes.
certain things that you can say about a person's medical history, and certain things that you can't.
True.
Right.
All right. hold on.
Continue.
I can also share. I see here there was a. He was detained by Tennessee
That is-
Highway Patrol on suspicion of human trafficking in December 2022 while carrying 7 passengers in a vehicle. While he was detained, the officers contacted the
Ow.
FBI, and then apparently after speaking with the FBI,
That was-
released him.
That was probably the one where he had the documents in the vehicle. That makes sense. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not gonna, coming.
enough
You're
to
looking
stop
at it.
The
My bad. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
All right.
Democrat Party from their lies. The number one issue they are focused on right now is bringing back this illegal alien terrorist to America. But where are the Democrats applauding the fact that southern border crossings men and women of law enforcement who are putting their lives on the line every single day to arrest the violent illegal alien invaders that the previous administration allowed into our country? And where are the Democrats when innocent Americans are victimized by illegal criminals that Joe Biden let in? It's appalling and sad that Senator Van Hollen and the Democrats applauding his trip to El Salvador today are incapable of having any shred of common sense or empathy for their own constituents and our citizens.
The investigation
So
could
to
eventually
be
include
fair, to Democrats, there's not very many of them that think that Holland is a smart person today. Just saying.
Well, they were cheering him on
I don't know
initially,
who-
but yeah.
I don't know who's cheering them on. Maybe the fucking crazies.
Oh no, they were cheering him on initially, but as soon as the news dropped that he was rejected, a bunch of them started going, "Well, good looks, bud."
Ah, you know who Sam Holland reminds me of? What's that senator's name that got killed in Jonestown? I forget. But that's who he reminds me of.
Hmm.
That guy just. Why are you going to another fucking country for no reason? To do some crazy shit for no fucking reason.
On taxpayer
Guy
dollar.
in Jonestown actually got killed. On taxpayer dollar too.
Leo Ryan.
There it is. Yeah, Leo Ryan.
Yeah.
See, I tell you, I have crazy education for mass death events. So yeah. Hold on. I don't know if we had any other relevant shit. No. We had gotten through this one. We basically covered this. So I'm just gonna say my stance on it and we'll go from there.
Alright.
If he was a gang member, fuck him. You know? I don't care what gang he was from. Just fuck him. We have this whole like thing, right? Where like you're in the country illegally, don't fuck up. And he fucked up. So
I mean,
I don't know what the big fuss is.
That's the level that we hold our green card holders to. You know, if you come into the country and you have a green card for, say, an education purpose and everything, you're saying to our country that you're going to come in, you're going to obey our laws, and you're coming here for education. If you deviate from that and you do something that's disruptive, especially if it's for some political value, I mean, to be completely honest, you know, if you would have came to us and said, "Hey, I'm going to come to your country because I have a political goal that I want to do, and I'm going to be able to politicize it on the American thing," we're like, "No, you can't have a green card. Get
Right.
out."
They would instantly deny you.
So yeah. So I mean, on the same thing, if you're here illegally, even if you're trying to make your way to be a legal citizen and everything, man, you need to make sure your P's and Q's are set. You know, and like you need to like look at the people that you're hanging around with and everything, even if they're like close family and everything. Like, hey, let me take care of this. Let me become a natural citizen and everything, and you know, get past this, and then we can get back to communicating. No offense, we family and everything, but this is important.
I got a spicy opinion on this.
Go ahead.
I think that people that argue against what we're saying right now, that people that argue against deportation for illegal immigrants and especially fucking crime, the criminal element of them, they virtue signal like they do, but I don't think they actually care about the immigrants that come into this country. Like they virtue
Distraction.
signal like they. I don't think that they. I don't think this is about that pretty Coke commercial that we saw in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. I don't think that's about this at all. I think what it is if you look at it, the asylum system is fucking backed up and it is insanely fucking broken of people that are trying to get in here fucking legally through the goddamn border.
Yeah.
And then we've got others that do it illegally but don't fuck up that are getting fucking deported anyway. There was some people that came in for different circumstances. Why are we fucking arguing for the criminals that we're deporting? Like this place has a finite amount of space. If you cared about the immigrant situation in any of these other countries, if you cared about the people that are coming in and all, well, they're escaping their bad situations. Well, they're not going to be able to if we keep letting in the fucking people that are like fucking gang members and all that shit. Like, we got to make space for them somehow. The asylum system's fucking broken. We got to fix it somehow.
You should look at the
question.
At the asylum and immigration systems to become natural citizens of other countries. Other countries require you to be fluent in their language before you're even able to even start the process.
Before this
Okay?
year, we didn't
There's
even
like,
have a language.
yeah, I mean, like the moment you do anything and whatnot, they're putting you on a plane. You get arrested, and you go to the airport, and they put you on a plane to your country. There's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts, there's no anything. There's a goodbye.
That's even if they do that.
Wait, where is this at?
Russia kept Brittany Griner for like 4 years for having a
Oh,
weed
yeah.
pen.
Yeah.
But where's this where they usher you on a plane and kick you out of the country?
I'm just giving an example. Like it's some countries, like they have a harder stance than the U.S. does against.
Oh yeah, of course. And then there's
Send-
even hold on, if I can remember
people out.
correctly, what there's a country that even allows their border patrol to actually shoot illegals that try to cross the border.
I'm saying, Sorry,
So-
my main computer's down right now, so I can't like reference things right now. I'm on my
It's all
laptop.
good.
The big to answer the question.
One question real quick, Monkey. Why did it take a meeting between two presidents? Was there some sort of agreement or about something, or why?
So the meeting between, we're actually going to go over that too because I got the meeting here. But the meeting between those two was to create the prison that they're going to be putting these guys in. Well, not even to create the prison, but to fucking extend it and all that shit. They had an agreement that they were going to house illegals, not just from El Salvador. This was to answer the problem in Venezuela, where Venezuela wasn't letting America land planes there to deport Venezuelans. So El Salvador has made a deal with America. They said, all right, fuck them. Just bring them here then. So Venezuelans are still getting the fuck out of this country. It's just they're not going to go home. They're going to go to El Salvador instead.
Yep. No, they get to have a fun time there.
Okay.
Okay.
But that
Didn't know
deal, that deal with those two presidents is that's that El Salvador's got what is it, CCOT, and CCOT's a huge fucking prison specifically meant for like gang members and shit, and they're using that prison as kind of like the detention facility for illegal immigrants.
Do you think they're doing that as like a deterrent for those that are in the U.S. illegally, saying, "Hey, you need to get out, or we're gonna send you here"?
Now it's a double deterrent because El Salvador's in it because they're trying to deter gang violence in their own country. So they're publicizing in a grand way that prison.
Yeah, so they're making a grandstand to the world, like, "Hey, if you fuck up, we're gonna put you here."
Yep, and that prison sucks, dude.
I can imagine.
Shit, it did not look fun in the videos, dude.
Yeah, I've seen a few.
Well, yeah,
It's gonna be like the new Rikers Island. Is that the one where they put all the very bad people?
It's where they're trying to make like the second Guantanamo Bay.
Which is worse, Guantanamo or Rikers?
Well, that depends.
Yeah, Guantanamo.
Depends on the administration that sent the quantity there.
You know what? That's right. I guess it does depend on the administration.
If you have a prison in another country, you can bet your sweet ass that prison's way worse. Like, not the people beating you in Rikers. At least you can understand what they're yelling at you while they're beating you.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Cuba, good luck, dude. Like,
well, some of us in here would understand it.
Yeah, and they beat you harder for it.
I don't know, Lewis. What do you got to say about that?
He's
Primo.
He's with his mama. Hold up.
Okay.
Andar pa la pinga pang
Oh no,
carajo.
wait. This is the briefing. Hold on, I'm trying to get the meeting.
What
for
happened?
him.
My connection is messed up. What happened?
That doesn't. He didn't hear it, so don't.
Mm.
God,
Don't worry
that's-
about
I
it.
just
You
heard
have your
Primo, I
ability to
just heard
change Ethan out
Primo.
your ears.
Say what you said, monkey.
Hold on. I'm bringing up the meeting for him. Here we are. Now listen, we're not gonna get. This is a 45-minute video, and I'm not playing this whole fucking video. I'm just gonna let you know that right now. Like that's not happening.
But I'm like 1.5.
Share this tab instead. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on 1.5. I'm gonna put it fast, but we're not. We got other videos to watch here. But hold on. Let me get. Where's the speed? Where did they put the speed? Did they move speed?
Playback speed.
The second part says playback.
Capital of the world. That was the journalist college, right? Murder the capital of the world in the safest country in the Western Hemisphere. And you know, sometimes they say that we imprisoned thousands. I like to say that we actually liberated millions. So you know, like it's very good. Who gave him that line? Do you think I can use that?
Okay. By the way, just saying, that's what you go to the White House.
Considering the last person sat in that seat.
In fact, Mr. President, you have 350 million people to liberate. Yes. But to liberate 350 million people, you have to imprison some. You know, that's the way it works, right? You cannot just free the criminals and think crime's going to go down magically. You have to imprison them so you can liberate 350 million Americans that are asking for the end of crime and the end of terrorism. And it can be done. I mean, you're doing it already. And I'm sure that people have seen the change in the streets. A long way to go because you're just initiating your second term. But it's clear that with the numbers at the border, even in Democrat-run cities, they get help from the work you're doing. So I'm really happy to be here, honored, and eager to help. Well, we had a terrible thing happen. We had an administration that allowed people to come in freely into our country.
I really appreciate that before we actually get down to business. This is the amount of petty that I aspire to be.
All right.
Before we conduct any fucking business, we have to take 5 minutes to beat the shit out of Biden. Just before anything. I honestly think he doesn't drink coffee before saying at least 5 negative things about Biden.
Yeah.
Well, hold on that one because you heard what happened with when he met Bill Maher, right?
Yeah.
I saw the interview on that. Yeah. He's like, he didn't say it was wrong, but he said definitely said he was mistaken.
But
well, he still has his disagreements with Trump. He even said it.
Different.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, some people say that he's still very similar off camera, though. But there are like his family and things like that have said that he is very different off camera. But there are others like Kid Rock that was telling Bill Maher that he's basically the same on camera. Like, remember how Kid Rock was?
But this is a level of.
So
I'm telling you, this isn't for the camera, bro. This is a level of hate. Like, he has hate. I've seen him be petty with Hillary. I've seen him be petty with Obama for sure.
Of course.
But the level of hatred for, in specific, Biden. He didn't even go this hard on Kamala. Biden. He's got a death thing. I don't know who said what on what phone call or what fucking Barron Trump said to Biden when he was getting elected or when his dad was getting fucking inducted. That was there's some evil hate in that fucking. This is a beef. Like,
I could agree.
I want to know when I'm like 50 or 60 years old and we start writing books about this time period.
I mean,
I need to know this beef, bro.
Right around where we can start entering Freedom of Information Act requests.
Okay, so I will have to say I can definitely see that perspective. I personally have a different one, but I can see that perspective, so I can see it. So it is a high possibility. I'm not going to say it's not. And if it is an actual beef, that would actually just make
I
it
think
even funnier, honestly.
like I'm very sensitive to like body language and micro mannerisms when I'm watching things and everything. And so far, a lot of this seems scripted. It seems like it was done and everything because like the guy on the left and everything like he's using his hands to descript and everything but he's keeping like really close and whatnot and even Trump's like responses and everything they seem to be too on point to the responses. It almost seems like that like instead of being able to like take in what he said and then start responding to it that he already knew what he was gonna say and start like talking to that.
So
I need to see more, but I'm just
what I know from the Zelensky meeting was there is a level of preparation
yes.
before you sit in that chair. Like you do
Oh
get
yes.
talked to. So
Yeah.
there is I don't know if it's fully scripted, but there is like they do direct you on certain like come with a fucking suit. Zelensky didn't listen to that. They tell you how to sit and act. They tell you what they're bringing up and what to stay away from. Don't talk about this. That was another thing Zelensky didn't listen to. But they do give you like a briefing. Like we're not
Yeah.
they don't just
Yes.
throw you in that room
All right. Fair enough.
to improv it. But as far as how much of this is scripted, yeah, I guess we're gonna have to watch it. But I do know that there is a level of preparation.
From the Congo in Africa.
Yeah. It's the micro mannerisms on the different toys that really make it for me. Please go ahead.
So
Sorry.
usually they'll
And
talk
they came
before
from
they
prisons,
actually
they came from
talk
mental
on camera.
institutions, and they came from gangs and the gangs of Venezuela and other places.
Yes.
And hundreds of thousands and even millions of them came. 21 million people altogether, but many of the people that came, just a tremendous percentage of them were criminals, in some cases violent criminals. We had 11,088 known murderers. Half of them murdered more than one person. This was allowed by a man who, what he did to our country is just unbelievable. So we're straightening it out, we're getting them out. But what they did and what that party did to our country, open borders, anybody could come in. As soon as I heard that, I said, every prison's going to be emptied out into our country. That's what happened. And we're straightening it out. And we just had numbers. We had the highest recruiting numbers in the history of our country going into police departments. And a year ago, we had the lowest numbers. You couldn't hire a
Biggest
police.
change.
Nobody's
The
ever
lowest
seen.
of the-
In the military now, Marines, the Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, every slot is, I mean, we have the best numbers we've ever had. We call it recruitment numbers. And we've never had anything like it. We had records on at every single level. But very important, the policemen. The policemen are joining forces now that we really were having a hard time with policemen because we weren't protecting our police. And we cherish our police. The police are great, and the firemen and everybody else. But we have the highest numbers that we've ever had, the most enthusiasm. We have great enthusiasm and on trade and other things. We're doing great. We're taking in billions and billions of dollars. We made 2 weeks ago. I gave a little bit of a pause because you have to show a little flexibility. But $2 billion a day. There's no company big like this. Right? This is the biggest deal ever made. Now we're making $3 billion a day. We're a great country, but we had stupid people running this country, and I can say that what they've done to us at the border should never and can never be forgotten. It's a sin what they did, and you are helping us out, and we appreciate it. Actually, what you're doing with the border is remarkable. It has dropped, what, 95%? As of this morning, 99%, 99.1% to be exact. Why are those numbers not in the media? They don't like putting out good numbers. They only like putting out because I think they hate our country. Actually,
This is where CNN cut.
It's a shame. You're right. Isn't that a great question? Why?
Again, just making sure to fit in that level of pettiness, bro.
Yeah, CNN actually cut away from this and everything to defend themselves against what the president said.
Say again. My bad.
Yeah, so CNN cut away shortly after what he said and whatnot. So a reporter came on and everything, and they started defending themselves as not fake news. Yeah.
In the media, why don't they put out numbers? 99%.
That's another that's beef.
Christy, could you maybe say a couple of words
That
about the
one's
border?
definitely
Yeah, it's just been absolutely phenomenal what a great leader can do. Clear direction, our laws matter. We should only have people in our country that love us, and the Border Patrol and our ICE officers and law enforcement officers have done fantastic work. So we're proud of them. Now we just need to get the criminals and murderers and rapists and dangerous gang members and terrorist organizations out of our country. So, Mr. President Bukele, we thank you very much for your partnership. It has been wonderful for us to be able to have somewhere to send the worst of the worst and someone to partner with. And we'd like to continue that partnership because it's been a powerful message of consequences. Mr. President, you wanted people to know that there was consequences if you break our laws and harm our people and endanger families. And this is a clear consequence for the worst of the worst that we have somewhere to put them.
What a suck fest. Charles.
Yeah.
He really knows how to fucking put together a circle jerk, dude.
Yeah, that was definitely a fluff.
Like this is a
That was definitely
this
a
is
glaze,
just-
yes.
This is a
Yeah.
this is a well orchestrated
glaze.
fucking circle jerk, man. He's great at this.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we even had this gang member from Venezuela, one of the ones you sent, and we interviewed him just to get some information, etc. from them. And he said, "Oh, well, I got arrested 6 times, but they released me the 6 times, so they should be released again." And then he said, "Well, what's the last thing you do?" And he said, "Well, I shot a cop in the leg, but I didn't kill him. I just shot him in the leg." And we're like, "This guy was arrested 6 times here in the United States, 6 times. He's released 6 times."
Shot him just in the leg.
No, just in the leg. I didn't kill him though. I didn't kill him.
And he shot him in the leg. So these are, like I said, there's something broken.
The liberal establishment.
Yeah.
But they're not running things anymore in this country. And
How old is this guy? This guy looks like he's our age, bro. This guy's
He definitely looks like 35, 40.
That's a good
run by-
question.
and I don't say conservative. I don't say anything. We're run by people.
Go ahead. You said you had a question?
No.
No, I said that is a good question. How old is he?
It's not liberal conservative. It's common sense. But, like, do you allow men to play in women's sports? Do you allow men to box your women and boxers? I know you have a lot of boxers. That's abuse of the law. It's abuse of the law. But we have people that fight to the death because they think men should be able to play in women's sports. And some of those sports, it wouldn't matter much, but it still matters.
This guy is 43.
Yep.
Some years ago, right, so that we
Pause.
enacted specific laws.
Just a nod to the last thing that they were saying. According to Twitter, Trump has rejected any sign on any gun control legislation in wake of the Florida school shooting.
Yeah,
Good.
No shit, man. Criminals don't follow laws.
Yeah, he's
And just keep an update. Continue.
Yes, thank you.
this ain't gonna make him bend on that.
Yeah, continue.
To avoid men abusing women. And I think those laws were great because there were a lot of men abusing women. But now some of the same people are trying to backtrack and actually trying to make new laws allowing men to abuse women in sports. So actually, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
You know, they have weightlifting records, right?
Yeah.
A woman gets up this way. She's incredible. A guy gets up and beats about 100 pounds. What are you going to do? A record that hadn't been broken in 18 years.
You know what? With Biden, the numbers were incredible. When school shootings happened in my presidency, only 2 people die. Okay,
Bro.
but in Biden's presidency, like 25 people die. Like, so we are improving.
I mean, it's. I kind of think that I don't think the presidency really would have mattered in that situation. I mean, I think it would have coaxed it depending on the current administration's belief in like alternative whatever.
Listen,
I'm listening.
we wouldn't have had, just like we wouldn't have had any wars. We would have had giant numbers in school shootings if I was president. And now I'm president. And now I'm president.
Monkey for president.
And now look, only 2 people have died. 2. With the last administration, that was like 200. Okay, not 2. You know, we're approved. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
So they put on an ounce, quarter of an ounce,
You're
eighth of an ounce.
Putin.
For 18 years, don't have a back.
We're on the upswing.
The whole thing is crazy. But they continue to fight. And I don't like talking about it because I want to save it for just before the next election. I say to my people, don't even talk about it because they'll change. And, well, but I watched this morning, there was a congressman fighting to the death for men to play against women in sports. And you say to yourself, Why? What are they doing?
Harvard, we're coming for you.
He's not too big in that.
No, of course not. We're big in protecting women.
Good. That's it's a very important form of protection. Yeah.
And as you can see, most of my cabinet are women. So
That's impressive.
yeah, yeah.
That's why
And
you're
they're
running.
not DEI hires or anything.
They
They're
can
just
be
great
too.
at what they do. Right?
That's right. This is very impressive.
Yeah,
This
no,
is the
it's
first
great,
time.
man.
Look at what we have. You guys feel a little bit mistreated? That's good. I like that. Fantastic. Christy, and the most powerful woman they see anywhere.
Fucking suck fest. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to skip that.
Right. Like,
There was no way that war should have been allowed.
All right, all right.
And if Zelensky,
He's talking some more shit. Let's go.
yeah.
We're getting to some more shit. It's like a bunch
Yeah.
of suck fest shit before we get to some more sound bites. Like, come on, bro.
I mean,
YouTube,
while
get
we're
it.
while we're waiting for you to find the right the sound point, if you want to mute it and everything, put your CC on. We
Go
can
ahead.
talk about things.
Alright.
You know, like, so, I'm kind of on the fence as far as like men in women's sports and whatnot, because like, so I don't work out. I mean, I could probably do maybe 15 push-ups and whatnot. I mean, I think that if there's going to be this allowance and whatnot, that there should be some sort of like like testing or whatnot that could like, hey, you could do this. Sure, like you could sandbag it and whatnot, but there would definitely be things and to watch for like that kind of activity.
I think. I mean, we've covered it before.
Oh,
but-
okay, never mind.
No,
Fair
no,
enough.
no. I love this fucking topic. The thing that when we're talking about sports, in particular high level sports, like the Olympics or state championships for college people, like we're talking about like the best of the best in that class, in that genders, however it may, men's sports, women's sport, whatever.
Right.
In these competitions, very small details make giant differences. Like we're
Fair.
talking, Michael Phelps was able to fucking win his gold medals because he was abnormally made by
Yeah,
for
yeah.
lungs.
He's longer at the bottom than he is at the top.
Yeah, like and you these are like differences that like they matter.
Right.
When you're talking about a man going into a female sport, transition, hormone, blah, all that. The issue where you'll see a lot of the issue is they had hit puberty at some point as a male, more than likely, probably
I understand
especially
what you're going.
especially in this age group, it's more than likely they've hit puberty.
Right.
And they've already built that male muscle mass. While
Right.
yeah, you can take away from it. You can
Yes.
take away from it.
Yes.
You really can't take it off. And
Right.
you definitely can't take bone density and shit away. So
No, I
there's
agree.
there's again, we're talking about high level sports where small things matter. Those small things matter, and they show up in the results. I think that I can't bring up off the top of my head exact statistics, but in some sports, these winners are winning by margins. You know, they're not small.
You raise a good point.
They're margins, and it's like it's kind of like I feel like it is cheat. It sucks for the woman. It's cheating.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Honestly, I argue this for sports, but my biggest main concern is combat sports. Like I do know that a girl's skull has been crushed by a trans guy. That transitioned to a female, but like
Right.
skull crushed, 100% fucked up. Like these things in combat sports specifically suck. Like I know like track is one thing and all that shit, but it's a whole other element to see it happen in combat sports.
No, fair enough. I'm sorry I missed the conversation with it. No, and I'll deter back
Nah,
to.
dude, we love having that. We're gonna rehash that conversation 1,000 times on this podcast. I love having
Fair
it.
enough.
But it's an important conversation to have. I don't mind revisiting it because it's. I feel like that's gonna get revisited 1,000 times. Before we
Yeah,
get
it'll
a
still be
true
talked about in
solution.
general because like look at even the UK and what happened over there. They had to make it into law where a woman is defined biologically, and people are still throwing a fit, going, "Do you realize the precedent this sets and everything? Why don't they need
Well,
this for men?" And it's like, well, what women that are transitioning to men do you see dominating sports or causing any kind of like injuries or things to other men?
Yeah,
I was.
there's also that point. It's it the dominate the yeah the domination is very one sided. You don't see it going the other way because it doesn't work the other way.
Mhm. I was
For
born in 1974, so during the 80s and whatnot, like I got to watch the gay community define what was that community to the point where they finally got their rights for marriage and whatnot. So I kind of look at this development on the LGBTQT and whatnot as more of that same development. How it goes and where it goes and everything, that's still yet to be determined. I mean,
and
it took,
I think it's important for this to happen now because
yeah,
it's unlike gay people and their struggle with their rights. This has a different context. Like there's more
yeah,
than
Yes,
just
exactly.
with gay people. The argument was very evangelical. It's really easy for the common layman to get behind the gay man's struggle because
well, yeah,
it's very relatable to a lot of people's like a black man would fucking relate to that struggle, no problem.
no,
There are many
So
views on
like
the gay community and gay people, but
those
no matter what, they
we're
always
t-
have that general consensus, basically.
well, no, it's
when
the,
we're talking
what,
about that, we're talking more on a morality issue, and the people that are arguing for it are very like they're talking about Bibles and shit. When we're talking about transgenders,
yes,
we're talking about like it's almost like the evangelicals are still yelling, but it's taking a backseat to common sense logic when it comes to certain things that have effect.
fair. So
Like go
during the
ahead.
whole during the whole era of the gays developing what is now the common norm and everything, it was also the whole thing of don't ask, don't tell. So even if you were gay during that time, you really didn't say anything because you had fears of repercussions about getting
Yep.
fired and all these other things.
Beaten,
But
killed.
nowadays and everything, it's like, oh, you're gay, okay, cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't care,
Well,
so
it's not even just that.
they
It's
don't really have that.
in general, most people don't just go around shouting, "Oh, I'm into this, I'm into that." You just go, most people, normal people, just
Well,
start
they
Right,
going
did.
but
after who
that's
They
what
they
I was
did.
find
saying.
They did.
attractive and
But
stuff, and it's
but
like,
but that's what I was saying and leading into. But nowadays and everything, if you have an alternate lifestyle and everything, you have teachers that like promote these things in classrooms and whatnot and see it as
Yep.
okay to do
you see, I was
when
actually going to
you
touch
have
on
these.
this right now. So that what you're bringing up is what I was going to touch on. You were saying like, what precedent does it go down to, and that's what I was going to say is that we saw the precedent of where it was heading. They were going for the children.
Dude,
Fair.
it
I don't think if it was direct, it was intentional or not, that there's arguments on both sides and whatnot. But like when I was growing up and everything, like looking back and whatnot, I've had a couple of gay teachers, but they didn't really do anything to encourage that type of atmosphere in the environment where they were teaching. They
Right.
may have had these expectations and
Well, you
beliefs
also did say
outside of the
you're a little
classroom.
bit older, right? Just a little bit older. You did say that.
Yes,
So you did go
yes,
through the
yes.
school system at a little bit of a different time. Because when I went
Right.
through,
That's
I did
that's what
have
I
a
was leading
specific
into. The
teacher
whole
that
don't.
I had through middle school and high school that was very heavily pushing for whether or not we're like trying to push me and other people to be gay, basically.
Yes. Okay.
Maybe he just had a crush on you.
Or just, or more or less, more having an open opinion or an open expressed opinion about that activity.
Oh no, I was
But-
open about it. I was part of the LGBTQ Alliance Club and all that stuff.
No,
I had no issue with it. It's just he kept trying to
Well,
pressure.
no, I was talking
yeah.
about more the teacher.
Yes,
I think
he was trying to
honest
pressure.
to God truth. I think honest to God truth. I mean, I can only speak for Florida. I don't know
Yeah,
what it's
every
like
place
in
is
the rest
different.
of the world. But honest to God truth. Well, yeah, you see the flags hanging out in the classrooms and all that. Because you do. I don't
That
think,
shouldn't be there either.
I don't think school is truly what's pushing this as hard as the other thing. Because
Oh yeah, it's not just school.
I think it's media in general.
Yes.
The cartoons that they watch, the comics that they read, the movies that they watch, the video games that they play.
There's a lot of activists in the
this is-
entertainment
That's what I'm
industry.
This is
Yeah.
really what affects children. School teaching is boring. George Washington is boring.
Looking at the
Luther
time,
King
though,
is
gentlemen, I do have to take my leave. So I
Matt-
hope you have a great rest of your evening and night, whatever.
You too, Les.
Later.
I'll take you next. I'll see you all
Matt
next
is-
time.
Matt,
Thank you for coming.
Okay. Oh. Whoops. Hold on, everyone. I probably should have. I hope you all enjoyed. Looks like I messed up. Okay. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. Have a great evening, night, whatever day. And I'll see you on the next stream tomorrow night.